we're going to move straight on to Tania Estrada. She is the Community Programs Director for the Women's Building. Hi, Tania. Can you hear me?
Well,
All right. Hi. Yes, I have you as well. So much of what we've been talking about has centered around business, getting people back to work. But we have an incredible need in our community, as most do, to support women, especially in a time like this. I know domestic violence numbers are up. We have a lot of people, women, children in this area who need your services so desperately right now. Tell me about the Women's Building and tell me what you're doing during this pandemic time.
yeah, thank you. So the Women's Building has always been committed to be there for the community since it existed, you know. So I think it's really hard right now for the community to get connected to our services and to the world in general because they don't have a place where they feel that connection, where they can get that assistance and where they feel safe. So it's been really challenging for many of our community members to to be served in different areas that they need help. And this is communities, of color, undocumented immigrants, minors, victims of domestic violence or trafficking that we work every day with. That during this pandemic, it's been very challenging to continue our daily work with them.
What are you able to do? I know that the building itself is closed down. What are you able to do with the community right now?
So we usually have 14 programs, social services programs available for the community, but right now we are only able to go with 9 of them. And we either have them on site because we do have a food pantry where we serve the community, pantry that they can take home every week. But those numbers have been increasing a lot since the pandemic started. So we are seeing now more clients and non-clients coming into the building that we want to serve. So we are not saying no to anyone until we run out of food. We are able to serve everyone. And we are considering other options, including a second day of the pantry because of the numbers that we've seen and the need in the community. We have some
I,
programs on
I
site. Sorry?
oh no, I'm so sorry. I was just going to say I live across from the food bank, and a month ago there were 20 people over there every Wednesday and Friday. Uh, 2 weeks ago there were 40. Yesterday there were 300. And noticing the different people who are starting to come, I mean, it really drives that need, not just in my backyard, but in my front yard and in all of our communities. There is just such a need. How are you with food supplies? Is that someplace that you need folks? Can we bring food? What can we do to help?
So we receive different types of funding, and we are able to provide different services for the community. This one is through the food bank, and I think those numbers are the ones that we are actually seeing ourselves increasing every Monday morning when we run the food pantry. Um, so it's very important for us to continue supporting organizations in different areas because I think one is food that we serve the community with, but there's so many other like different resources that we provide the community with that are essential for them. We run the family reunification program, so we're able to do fingerprints for those minors crossing the border and provide them with enough with the documentation so they can be released and saving the community with their families. And known police department is doing fingerprintings right now in San Francisco or Bay Area, except the Women's Building. So, there's some services that we still need to offer the community on site. So we are going to the building on different days at different times to provide those essential services, and some others that we can run from home, telephone, video calls. We do it, such as the resource clinic. So we are calling all the clients that we work with in the past year to see how they are doing and what is the help they need the most in or assistance. We've been, attending serving calls to help fill out unemployment applications. or the census. They don't have access sometimes to computer, or they need a referral for somewhere. We've been very aware of the domestic violence situations. So calls haven't been increased at much or as we thought they were going to be, because the reality is that it's very difficult to, when living a domestic violence situation, to do a call from home. So the fact that we are calling, I think, alleviates some of that for them, because even though women cannot call, sometimes they are able to know that we are there for them whenever they want to call back. And even when we call, we time ourselves. We have sometimes less than a minute to talk to these women, making very specific questions, yes or no, with yes or no answers to expect from them, so that we know if they are in a safe environment, or to provide some of other resources that they can get in these moments.
I just read a news report that said Uber is offering free rides to women and children fleeing domestic violence situations. Do you know about this? And do you know, is your center working with that program in any way?
No, right now I didn't know about that. I think it's really good to know. We also has and host other in-house organizations within our building that work with domestic violence, such as San Francisco Women Against Rape or Cooperative Restraining Order Clinic. So there's a different organizations within the building that are currently operating for them. So
And Tanya, I had to put my glasses on. A reader or a viewer question just came in. Does the women's building need volunteers? How are you training new volunteer staff? And does the women's building need, yeah, it was the same one. Sorry. So the same one
yeah.
posted there twice, but do you need volunteers? How are you training the staff? And I think what I'm hearing, just all my different gadgets going off around me, is how can we help support you, support our community?
So yes, we do need volunteers. We're currently recruiting for the food pantry on Monday mornings, but we have very specific guidelines for that, because the majority of the people that volunteer for us in that program is were seniors. So we had to stop from we have to just like limit their access to the volunteering opportunity that they were running. So they are coming as clients but not as volunteers. So the food pantry is one of the programs where we are actively recruiting volunteers. There's a link in our site where it directs you to the volunteer coordinator, and she will be doing some, virtual training, but also on-site training prior to the pantry, so that we know, the updates or new guidelines, or just to how to run the pantry with the proper social distancing and all the healthy measures that are there. In terms of how can we help, I think that the best way to help, I think, is donations. We have also received masks from other members in the community. Right now, we're partnered with different organizations to do more advocacy efforts for different communities in many areas, and also, to get the basic things that sometimes is very hard for ourselves to get. Immigrant communities, victims of some sort of trafficking, people that are losing their jobs and even homes, they can afford to pay, I don't know how much for a hand sanitizer or for a mask. So I think that the donations that we are receiving from different community members, either, in items within this area, or money wise, everything helps the community to get that from our building.
Okay, and anything else you want to make sure people watching this or listening to this know before we say goodbye?
Yeah, so I think that you can learn more if you go into our website. There's a lot of information there on how to donate if you find yourself, like, in a good opportunity to do that right now. And I think that's very important for us to think. There's some of us that are fortunate to have a home and a job that is very active right now. But there's many people that is needed our help to in this pandemic most than any other time in the year, I guess, to help them with. So I think that if anyone else like is willing to put that like into into some of these efforts, just like log into our website, donate, or contact us for more information, and we'll move forward with that. Thank you.
Tania, thank you so much. Tania Estrada, Community Programs Director for the Women's Building